What's up, everybody? Good evening, everyone on YouTube. I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying their week so far. It's Thursday night. We got one more day to go before the weekend. I'm very happy about that. I'm also happy to be reunited with my brother from times of another, Tyler McGraw. Ty, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. It's good to
Good
really
to
be
have you
back with
back
you and
on
hanging
here.
out again. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all good.
something really cool today too. So very excited to be back.
Yeah, I went all out and made this background uh, because I'm like I need to
M-
spice this up a little bit. Uh,
We should use that for. I like that background.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
we can
cool. I like it.
definitely do that. We can definitely do that. Anthony, hello, welcome in, everybody. Appreciate everyone
What's up,
hanging out with
Anthony?
us this evening. Ty and I are just going to be having a laid back conversation about what's been in the news lately and our appreciation of the Titanic story. Uh, Neither of us are experts, that's for sure, but we just love the story and we love the talking about the history and all that. So that's why we're here because we've had big news this week. Something that we knew
Oh
was
yeah,
inevitable, right, Ty? But it's coming to fruition now.
it is pleasant to see either. But for all those that know this, that it has been down at the bottom of the ocean, miles beneath the surface of the ocean there. Um, over 100 years, obviously some deterioration is gonna looks as though it's been a little accelerated recently with the loss of a piece of the bow railing that's up there. We're looking at a very size and completely eaten away, or even it's was fallen off and fell. So we haven't seen that. It's going to change the way the ship looks. And that's more iconic, and I can touch on that, in a little bit later. But it's really, but something I'm not shocked to see, if that makes sense. It was a matter. It seems that in July they discovered that now's the time for that to happen.
Yeah, we everyone who has read about Titanic and the wreck site and things like that and has watched the news over the years understands that this is what's going to happen. I mean, it's not just going to be like it was in the 80s when Bob Ballard located it and that's when I remember being interested in it was the National Geographic special they had in the mid 80s when Ballard found it and then I was a young kid and I'm like, okay, I got
Such
to
a good
find out.
documentary.
Oh yeah, it's still timeless, right? It's one of those
Yeah,
things, but man,
Bismarck
it
one too that I watched. He did
yeah.
too. So it's cool.
Yeah, the Bismarck one's really, really fantastic as well. If anyone watching hasn't seen either of those, or you've only seen one, go check out the other one, or check out both. They are fantastic, and that whole story of Ballard's expedition is a whole other live stream that I know you've touched on, Ty,
Could
on a
be
live.
absolutely. Yeah. So meeting him, I was very young at the time. I was a fifth grader when I met him. He
Mm,
took me over to a high school in Loudoun County, Virginia, where he was speaking one night, and just hear him talk. And this is before he even came out to talk about why he plays finding the Titanic. That's all again, whole nother story, because that wasn't this from the 80s onwards. It was, oh, I went on this to specifically find actually on a pretty secret mission at the time.
mm,
Again, story for another day. But yeah, Ballard,
mhm.
he was an early inspiration as to my. I've already been kind of full fledged into it, but then meeting him was like peak Titanic. There, it's wow, being able to again knew the severity of where I was at and kind of who was in front of me. Without him, the
Right.
movie wouldn't be possible. I don't think. I mean, there's been movies out before, but there's 89 into the 90s when he's discovering the ship and it's really becoming a popular thing.
Mhm.
And so Ballard's credited with a lot.
Yeah, yeah, rightfully so. He's I always wanted to meet him. I'm kind of jelly that you got to meet him. But it's one of those guys that I just always wanted to shake his hand and meet him and say hello because that seeing him at a young age really influenced my interest in history and especially the interests of the history of the Titanic. And seeing the news this week, that it's just like we said, it's going to happen, and it's happening in our lifetime, and it's going to continue to happen, where we see the Titanic slowly fade away once again. It was lost to history for so long, and then now we're
Right.
losing it, and again, so it's going to bring up a whole bunch of conversations, I think, and tonight's one of those nights where we're just going to kick back and relax and discuss. And I did prepare not only this wild background that I have on here, but I did prepare a couple slides as well, because I went all out with. I love Canva. They're not a sponsor, but I love Canva. So
Canva's dope. No, I love Canva too.
oh yeah, Canva's dope. I love Canva, and I've been using it a while, as you can tell. It's if I can use it, anybody can use it. So yeah, so I wanted to put a couple of
There
slides up
she
here so
is.
Ty and I can discuss this. Uh, as we know, this is a previous image of her, and I think I put the same image or one
Mhm.
from the same period in the slide. So as we move forward here, we're going to see first the railing, which has been talked about heavily on the news, right, Ty?
Yeah, this is the bow railing that we talk about that is alone. This Jack, because this is what a lot of people are actually going to know. So the up so many times just because of the cultural phenomenon that movie is, and the recognition of these things we're going to talk about honestly comes from that because they've been exposed to in this era. But nonetheless, this is from 2010. This is when the bow railing was still intact. And so right at the front, the bow being the front of that ship, you're going to look and see there. That is what we have seen missing. Um, Kind of surprising it lasted as long as it did. It's made so it's not something that's going to be a permanent fixture on off and back on very easy. It
Mhm.
was done with the Olympic multiple times as it changes from a cargo ship back to a passenger liner and then ultimately being scuttled. But is a feature on the Olympic and even the Britannic as well. These are sister Olympic being 400, Titanic 401.
Mhm.
Again,
Mhm.
they're not meant to last. So the fact that this is the first time we're seeing it, credit to the builders there, I guess, on solid ship that lasted for over 100 years, and so a testament to the building at least, and that's something you can actually appreciate. And that's a weird way to look at it. That now we think it's that my brain didn't really pick up on until I realized it was something that had a lot of effort and a lot of work put into it, and it's 2 miles beneath the ocean.
Mhm.
That's incredible. So thought about. So there are good things to this happening too, because like John's bringing up new conversations. This is new thoughts that I haven't given to the ship before.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seeing it
this
whole
thing.
is kind of different now that I'm used to seeing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This wreck, for to let everyone know the depth, to picture the depth. This wreck is about the same height as 8.5 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other.
Wow,
So
I didn't,
all
that's a way to put it.
so also imagine the water pressure that's happening on this wreck, and then you have the deterioration, the decay, and it's falling apart. So as I had here on this slide, and thank you to RMS Titanic Inc. for a lot of these visuals that I'll be showing you going through. This is from 2010, so this is 14 years ago now, and wreck's been changing almost every year in some
Oh yeah.
fashion, collapsing in some parts or pieces falling off and things like that. So, uh, so here we are, the latest, one of the latest images, and I've taken a red mark there and circled where we have this falling off the side of the bow of the ship. So going back one time here, and now this is today. Well, within the last couple,
Yep.
well, 7:30.
Yeah.
So July 30th.
July.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah. So you can see we have structural loss here, and it's that, like Ty said, it's that iconic railing on that iconic bow that we first saw with Ballard in what, 87, I think it was,
that's
Ty.
right. Yeah, that emergence of that video. I mean, that's still like a chilling thing to think about. But yeah, you're such an iconic view, and I mean, I hate looking at this, but I love looking at this. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
it's love hate.
It's tough. It's tough because so many of us have studied this for a while just in our off time. Like I said, we're not Titanic experts, that we don't study this all the time, but it's that story, and that's the symbol of that story, right? Sandra has a question. Welcome in, Sandra. Appreciate that. Are there plans to recover any of the structural elements of the ship? Ty, do you know
That's
of
a good
anything like that?
question. I know how to somewhat answer your question. RMS Titanic is wreckage, and let me kind of backtrack before I just call it controversial. They own the salvage rights, and it's a great organization. They are not selfishly selling these on the market. The only thing is coal and coal. Okay, I'm not worried about coal, but there is a recovery aspect of some of the expedition was on, and actually in 2025 there is a planned expedition to start seafloor, as well as maybe some pieces of in Las Vegas, for example. They call it the big section. There is a display of part of the hull of the ship on display, and that's able to recover, and they are working to try to help get saved before the ship does ultimately deteriorate, because we do have maybe 100 expeditiously if things just continue in maybe 100 years. But I mean, at best we may have about 300 years left with this, maybe. So there's got to be some part to do that,
Mhm.
and they're the ones responsible for it. So,
Mhm.
and add to these folks going down with RMS Titanic are when it comes to submersibles.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
So
this is not a
just
fly
to
by night
remind,
operation.
yeah, no, no.
Yeah, yeah. These are
I know
people
because
who are
that's
doing
that's on a
everything
lot of people's minds with this.
right,
You
right.
know, good question. Good question.
Yes, thank you for that question, Sandra. Really appreciate that. Thank you for everybody for being here. Greatly appreciate all of you. Again, want to focus on the railing here for just another moment, because there's only a couple slides here that I have, because I don't have the whole deck. I forget, took like 2 million shots or something like that, I think.
Yeah, it's an astronomical number.
Yeah,
See all the individual shots. So yeah, I could spend all day just scrolling.
yeah,
We'll try to see
yeah,
all 2 million. I don't know how that's possible. If they want to show all 2 million, I'm happy to spend a day scrolling,
yeah, yeah. Just put them on a loop
or a few
on a
days,
YouTube channel on a loop and just let them go. That'd be
please.
amazing. But
We
so here's the side shot from the port bow side of Titanic. So the RMS Titanic Inc. actually put that rectangle on there. That's not my work, that's theirs,
mhm.
letting us know the portion of the railing that is now on the seabed. If you look back further, you can actually see a portion that had already been lost. Back
Yeah,
there, about 3 sections, 4 sections back from this part on the end. And so we're going to take this and we're going to put it on the seabed. So I added that arrow there. So this was another shot from July 30th expedition. And you can see the railing lying flat, just like it just came off and went over the side and down, straight down, and landed nice and flat and tilted over. And that's it. So there's the piece off of the port side bow uh, that we'll be able to see now on the seabed. And yeah, Ty, I'm wondering if things like this, where we have structural loss in some capacity where it's an iconic piece of the structure, I wonder if that
hmm
really accelerates people saying, hey, we need to move forward with getting things up. from the sea floor because this thing is starting to go. Even though, like you said, it could be there another 300 years.
Unpredictable.
You know.
Right, it could be, and that's because we have to remember a lot of the rusticles that you ship, and I am doing air quotations on purpose, they're organisms that are somewhat eating away, forming a barrier from other more harmful organisms, iron and metal and all the different fixtures that are there. If these things keep doing their job, we could have 300 years out of it. So that's a point. It's going to go right away. I'm like, there's actually a weird natural defense from being down there for so long.
Mhm.
Another interesting aspect, we don't under the ocean floor. Titanic hit that ground the like lightest way I can put it, and it's the bow is the ocean floor.
Mhm.
So I don't know, and I'm not an, but I wonder what's happening underneath the surface.
Yeah.
I wonder what the ship, if it's, is it holding it as like a time cap? Is that because of the pressure? Lord knows what kind of the pressure is under the floor. But
Mhm.
wonder what that's doing, and is there a way in the future to understand what's happening under the ocean floor? That's something that maybe RMS come up with, because we're in 2024, and then that are coming out of the ship are things we have never seen before either. So we're also almost seeing. So it would be interesting to see if they can what's down there underneath the floor.
Yeah, that's something I've always wondered too. What's it look like under that sediment? And is it a time capsule? Is it in that kind of preservation state, or is it you know just as bad, if not worse,
Too
than what we
harmful,
see? Something
right?
we're not going to know that for a long, long time, probably, but who knows? Technology may come out where we can scan it and find out. I mean, we got everything else going on for us. Might as well
Yeah, I would
see
say
what
fingers
happens.
crossed.
Yeah, yeah. So we've covered the railing issue that has been on mass media and all over the outlets. So we have that covered. Oh yeah, here's the shot that I think is now this generation's iconic bow shot now for the Titanic, because this is what the next generation are gonna grow up seeing, right?
No,
It's wild.
uh, just accepting it, man. Like it's that's not an. I don't know how to like. Again, I get actually used to seeing the ship in a different light,
Mm.
and yeah, it's different.
So
It's not the Titanic I remember.
with our background tie with battlefield preservation, this comes into
Yes,
play with this, right? Because it's like, okay, this area
it
has now
does.
changed. This is different. It looks different now. So how
This
does
has
this
changed.
possibly impact how we talk about it or how we look at it, right?
And that's a good question too. But this is, I want to say, 2 weeks at most, and this has been pretty public.
Mhm.
This is the beginning stages of learning how to talk about that, and that's something I would for that. But we are so early in this process of drastically change. Like it may seem like just a railing to some who study the ship, but there's something about losing piece of
Mhm.
something that's been there for so long. It's going to change the way we look at the salvage wrecks. What are the questions being asked by the people in the submersibles? What are they going to do year when they go down there in 25? Like, is this something that's going to take precedent, news coverage with all this different deterioration? Don't go down there again and the entire railing's gone.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know what this is going to do, because you have such a serious chunk missing.
Mhm.
Going to
Mhm.
stay up? Is this going to just knock it over? Yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to
And
do the
it's
preservation
another
talk about
thing of
this. This is
only time's going to tell, right? Uh,
yeah. That I anticipate the next expedition because I would love to see what comes out of what the next
Yeah.
photos are going to look like. Ooh, I like this slide.
Yeah.
Out of this whole thing though.
So this is another big thing that came across the news this week because there's a picture of this on the seabed now, been finally found since the first expedition, I think, right? Since Ballard, right? I think they saw it.
I believe so.
So this is
But
Diana
this was so
Verson.
I'm a little confused on this one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If Ballard discovered it, or if it was something that I know that I should know this one, but let's see if I can pull it up. I had something on her earlier. I know photographs previously, and maybe
Mhm.
maybe not. But you please continue while I try to figure this out.
Okay, so I have it here. The
Okay.
lounge, the first class lounge, as I put here on the slide, is where she's from. She's on the mantle in the first class lounge. The lounge was torn open during Titanic's sinking, and Diana was thrown to the debris field where she has rested for over a century. This is off of the expedition website. She was photographed once in 1986, but a tradition of secrecy around the Titanic wreck ensured her location would remain unknown. And this is the first time that she's been spotted since 1986, according to them.
Okay, that makes me. Oh wow,
Yeah.
sense because you don't want people going down there and taking that ship.
No. She was located with just hours left on the final day of Expedition 2024. And she has not been seen in this much detail in 112 years, which we're going to show, and what they've already released.
Yeah.
So this isn't breaking news. This has already been released, but what we're going to talk about here. This is
Yeah.
the best. This is the best look we've had in 112 years. You can see Diana there with the sword. I think it's a sword over her shoulder. She's actually,
Mm-hmm.
if you look really close, um, she's holding the head of a stag, or she's holding a stag by the head, the antlers, dragging it because she is the goddess of hunting and animals. So that's what she's holding there in her left hand. This is a shot through the mirror, or that's why it's this way. It's the mantle and a mirror, so we're seeing front and back.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what she looks like today. So you can see beside the left leg, there's the stag still there.
Yep.
You can see the arm turn in the right arm, so that's definitely her. And this is the best shot that we've seen of her since the sinking, apparently. The most detailed shot, because think of what we were shooting in 1986. It's not this detailed.
Right. And at the
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's amazing.
yeah, it
Um,
is.
but this slide, I think, encapsulates that passage of time and the tension that some still have about things being brought to the surface. Do you bring things to the surface, and in what order do you bring things to the surface, et cetera, et cetera? But Ty, as you say, RMS Titanic Inc. They do a very professional job with all this stuff.
They do. And like I said, it's not being sold at an auction or at some gift shop or things that are being preserved out of the water by different scientific research purposes. So there's a lot, and it's good that they're in the right hands, and that's huge. And I think that plays a big seen Diana in so long, even though they knew sort of the location of the idea was probably not to make that too widely public hunters because there were plenty of people down there that shouldn't have been. We all know, and
Mhm.
now there's the. I'm thinking with Titanic or RMS Titanic having such a chokehold on Correct. Maybe we can see Diana again. I don't down there. Diana might make an appearance again.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hopefully not at a museum, but just learn from her. Like that. This is a mass grave too, so it's very
Mhm.
controversial thinking about salvage. But if it provides such an opportunity to learn
Mhm.
and understand even the ocean, but there's so many different possibilities.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think?
It's a tough call for me, simply because I know a lot of people who collect artifacts off battlefields, and you know,
Hmm.
they collect stuff that was on the Western Front. They collect stuff that was, on Civil War battlefields in the United States that was picked up years ago, or a Civil War camp or something like that. People died there. So when's the
Yeah.
argument? Which way is the argument going to go? Either you believe it fully or you only believe it partially. And I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying sometimes I see it from people who are
Right.
collecting artifacts from battlefields, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. When does it become a grave site, and when does it become this? Because there's definitely people who are still buried on battlefields. So it's kind of a weird line, right? It's this tense kind of outlook on uh, uh, the good death, if you will, the good burial, the way we honor the past, etc. Yeah, it's I like to see the artifacts being preserved when they are uh, brought
Mhm.
from anywhere. I want to see them preserved properly. I don't want to see them at an auction house. I don't want to, I want to see them done right. And I'm really happy with the way some of these things have been dealt with over the years. As you say, people have gone down there who shouldn't have been down there, and people have paid the price for going down there who shouldn't have been going down there. And I don't know. I'm wondering,
I
Ty.
interviewed some. Oh man, that's a whole different story for another podcast. But yeah, I did that story
I'm wondering though, Ty, if
about that.
the media frenzy around what just transpired down there last year. I'm wondering if that has accelerated this story because people are looking
And
at it from, go ahead, go ahead.
this comes at an interesting time, right? So a year ago, the news for a much different headline, and it's a lot that you may have heard about, a submersible going down there and not coming back up.
Mhm.
It was a, I don't want to sound controversial, learning experience for the submersible world to really just let the professionals continue doing what they're doing and not
Mhm.
the Titanic tourist site don't treat it as such, and that's unfortunately what happened.
Yeah.
Now a marketable tourism, and even using the name expeditions, mission specialty. That's the dark side of what this thing has become too.
Mhm.
Um, since Ballard found it, there's the Titanic tourists that want to go down, be real close to the ship. I'm gonna tell you what, as much as I love this ship, and I would, they asked me to go down. First of all, if you want to sponsor me for $100,000+ maybe I will agree. That's what it costs to go down. That's why
Yeah.
these people that go to museums or scientific organizations, they're sponsored for a reason.
Mhm.
It's dangerous. These submersibles that are going down there and taking the photos with RMS type built for that and have
Mhm.
been captained by people experienced down there. And they're also not controlled by a game controller. We can also um
Mhm.
there's just a lot of negative in that. And I think what RMS Titanic has done is showing that there are professionals. We need to leave it to them because what they're doing is ultimately going to be better, and we're a millionaire going down there and taking pictures.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
There's
Uh,
I'm happy this is the headline despite the railing. Much
mhm.
better than what we were hearing in the news last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I want this to be the main headline because it really shows us also, um, the how should I put it? it shows why terrestrial preservation, things we do on land is so important because
Yeah.
we have decay in both areas, whether it's underwater or it's on land. And it really can help us highlight that comparative look at what is preservation for and what is
Yeah.
allowing something to be taken by nature. We know this is going to be taken by nature because that's just the way it is. It's a place, it's where
Yeah.
it is. It's going to be, and it should be, taken by nature because there's no other way. But when I see the railing, uh, I see a fence at a historical site that hasn't been taken care of that should be taken care of, and we can definitely raise money for it, or something like that. That railing to me is the
Mhm.
same symmetry as a snake rail fence on a battlefield that needs to be replaced, and we need to take care of it. I'm drawing those comparisons in my head, and that might be a little too deep or a little too weird, but I'm trying to
No,
formulate this idea of preservation with it.
that's that's an interesting question. So, you know what, I'm willing to preserve it. Do we find out, is this something that we can preserve?
Mm.
We're gonna go probably. But that's the thing too, is like, how do we know miles beneath the ocean floor? Ironically, the Bismarck, granted it's a few Titanic, is much deeper.
Mhm.
That or not, but she's much deeper.
Yeah.
Station though, I mean,
Yeah.
beautifully preserved. Now, that could have scratching my head like, well, when's the last time somebody went to check on her?
Mm.
In a while, because that's a dangerous trip in itself.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
thing is like, is there a way to preserve something way?
Mm. Yeah.
And who knows, 120, 200 years, who knows, we're not going to, like, we're looking at the Titanic.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true, and all these preservations. I'm like, we can add that third. It hasn't happened yet, so this is cool. But with the Space Force created and out in the next 120 years, see, like, again, 200 years. I don't know why I'm stuck on 120.
You gotta play the
maybe
lottery tonight.
maybe some I be my number, man. I know I'm wearing a
Yeah,
20 jersey
could
of the
be your
Ravens,
number.
but oops, that I plugged.
It could be your number, I'll tell you. Baron, after learning about the Titanic, I decided I'm not a cruise person. There you go. There you go, buddy.
Yeah,
How are you, Baron?
I'm not jumping in Doom Baron. I can tell you that much.
No.
Nor is submersible.
Yeah, no. No. I'll go see a submarine on
I'm already
land.
claustrophobic enough. Yep,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
perfectly fine.
Thank you everyone for joining us so far this evening. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I gotta say, if you haven't slapped that subscribe button, please do so. It's free. Um, I greatly appreciate that. Uh, it's really interesting though. This to me is this shot to me is probably going to be the background of my computer a while because I think
And it takes
it tells you a lot, but it's also just to me a beautiful shot, and the bow is the icon to me.
it's a different one now.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
said,
right.
that's when people think of the movie, it's the cultural phenomenon that it is. That bow scene, that bow, right? Most people
Mhm.
try to think of, because Rose learns to fly there, right? And
That's right.
that's the deal of the movie.
Yeah.
So now that it's gone, it's like, well, people are gonna notice. I think it's different too. Still have to be jumbling my words, man. This thing, I don't know. I want to be like, oh, this such a new way to talk about the ship.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know if I like it or not. I guess I have to really hear more.
Well, it's
I know that sounds weird for just a pair.
yeah. The wreck is getting older, just like we're getting older, and parts of us aren't working the way it worked. It's like my knees
Yeah,
are giving out, my back hurts. This wreck is going
I'm getting
to,
there, man.
yeah, this
Yeah,
this wreck is going to get to a point where it's just going to deteriorate faster than is now, you know, because things are getting worn down through pressure and through everything that's these organisms that are eating away at it and so forth. It's I want to see what this railing
Sure.
looks like in like 5 years. You know, is it going to be there in
You may
5
not, we
years?
may not even have it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that we're gonna have it with that significant of a size being gone. I don't know the structural integrity of the rest of it now.
Yeah, the other thing that I saw, I couldn't find the photo. Um, it's been all over TikTok though, which is interesting. There's a whole like
It is
hashtag
interesting.
for this on TikTok now. Um, but the Marconi is now visible, and so now
Really?
they're like, please go get the Marconi. Please go get the Marconi. And people are pushing them to be like, please get the Marconi before it disintegrates or it falls apart or what.
Yeah, that
It's standing
oh my
right
god.
there, and there's a front shot of the Marconi, and I'm like, now we're talking that's something
Let me
that
see
I
if I
want,
can
you know, brought up. But I don't know if I
Marconi.
can find it. If I can, I'll put it up.
Also, yeah, pull it up.
Uh, the Marconi
Uh,
2024. That supposedly there's an image going around that shows it. Is this it? I can't tell if that's it, but I know I saw it, and people have tagged.
oh, it's cool that
Oh,
it's showing up there.
I think this is it. Let me see if I can bring this up. If there's no paywall, this is the beauty of the internet nowadays.
I love
That's a
those.
video. I'm
Everything
telling
has
you,
a
it's
freaking
here.
paywall.
It's I gotta
No, I
find it.
believe it.
Yeah,
Oh, now you
there's
got me intrigued.
okay, that's a terrible photo. But yeah, it's okay. This is from then. Okay, yeah. So they did get a better shot of it, but it is standing there. Believe me, it's they have access to it now, and yeah, it's going to be
The
interesting. I
graphics
can't find it.
alone in this picture, because there is not an ounce of art of natural light down there. Everything you're seeing in
Mhm.
this lit up from artificial light. Even some of the see, there is not a full photograph. That's why they're pieced together. What RMS Titanic was doing as well was trying to kind of do that mosaic of the years ago now. The reason they have to do that again is because of the lighting situation. Submersibles lighting it up. I mean, getting a clear picture like that is again just a testament to
Mhm.
technology today and how far we've.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is incredible. I
Think of
keep looking at him just
but
like, no, you're good. It's just so it's awesome.
yeah. Sorry, everybody. We have a bit of a delay between Ty and I going on. It's the joy of the internet sometimes, where we're accidentally talking over each other or we're interrupting each other. I apologize to everyone for that. I live in Canada now, so you can blame Canada. It's fine. But yeah, this idea that I mean, this thing is entombed in darkness. There's no light getting down there, and this is all artificial light. Taking this idea of this photo and thinking back to what the Alvin saw in the 80s, and it's just like putting a flashlight in front compared to this. You know,
I
this is like
know.
LED light,
I mean,
you know,
and
but
Ballard's books, those old pic, those are actually all
Mhm.
artist renditions of the ship too. So folks don't realize it. There's just no lights. It's hard to even this like seeing
Yeah, this here.
size that's a huge picture to have lit up.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Like that's impressive that we can see much of it lit up.
yeah. That's the most that ship's probably been lit up since she's been on the surface, you know,
Probably,
in that
yeah. You know,
vast amount, you know. It's
you
crazy.
can That's something you don't get from the artist renditions is you can see the distinct
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
even that deep you can colors. And again, the artist renditions, you're just getting a green hunk of metal, not metal, excuse me. And so, in different seeing the detail that's been able to come out of editions. This is just something that's amazing,
Yeah.
and we live in a cool time to be able
Yeah. Look at
to
that.
look at that.
It's
Holy
amazing.
cow!
Let me get that. Let me get this off here. There we go. So yeah, now you get even better view, right? Where you see the detail in it. Um,
You do.
it it really allows you to understand the power of photography when you see something like this. You know, it's incredible.
How that's been able to be captured.
Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah. And again, there's the
Yeah, this. Oh my God.
this just seeing that is just. I wonder what was going through their minds when they saw that on the floor. You know.
Yeah, I bet they didn't expect that to be the guy. It was the one like, oh, there's the Titan. There's not the bow railing. Just
Yeah.
imagine expecting to see that, and that's what you. Am I at the right ship? Is this Titanic? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just adding more detritus to that debris field, which is immense.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. It's
um,
miles, I mean, miles apart because it's so far away from the bow
yeah, yeah,
on
and it's
expedition
all,
photos.
and that stern is almost unrecognizable. You
Oh
know,
my, clobbered. And I know it's not the nicest thing to say. And
yeah,
that thing was just demolished when it hit the ground. I mean, it hit the ground at such.
yeah, it's crazy, but yeah. So I'm really happy that
Look at her.
we got these amazing images now, and I'm hoping and I'm sure they will release many more coming up because the world is watching this now, and people who aren't even fans of history. I don't like to think about that, but there are people. Some people aren't into history. They're watching this too, and they're mesmerized, probably because of being fans of the movie back in the day, or the crazy news stories we've heard over the last year or something. It's piggybacked in popular culture now with this vessel, probably the most famous shipwreck in the world. You know,
And that's, there's no denying that the power this is going to have. This is incredible.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know I keep saying that.
Well, it is incredible. I mean, that's the best way to put it. That's the only way we can put it. But yeah, this is
Right?
yeah, it's crazy, right? It's just wild
Yes,
to
man.
think about. But before we sign off, and again, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Great to see everyone in the chat, and thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate that. Um, is there any plans in the future for the Unfiltered Historian gigs or anything going on, my friend? I want to give you a shout out before we come off of here because
So DC died,
mm,
which is a hard have a lot of the access to what I was doing when it came to the cast and
mhm,
all that. So we're shifting more towards recorded content and more field type content and just highlighting events. I'm emerging Civil War social media team now, which is awesome. So I've been doing a lot of stuff time too. I'm helping with that and just trying to get video content for. It's been very fun. That's kind of more my alley. So the unfiltered, we still have some content coming. We're calling a new season. Kind of get some computer stuff figured out. But as for the time being, just look out. If you're not following Emerging Civil War, give them a love and watch us on there. We'll do unfiltered as well once we can, like I said, get everything. But it's nice to still have a healthy avenue to be able to
Mhm.
share this history, and especially you.
Yeah,
And I love coming on here. World of Warships on a PlayStation. It's so weird with the controller. I don't know if I like it.
it's
But
I'm sure it is.
it's so weird.
And we
What are we
can't
doing? Like
division
this is
up
not
anymore
World of
because you're on that.
Warships.
Yeah.
I think we can. There's a crossplay enabled, so we might. I have to
Oh,
see how that would work, but I think
yeah.
we're at Discord again, so we can chat. But if I can do that, we'll have to do a World of Warship stream
Yeah,
deck, so
absolutely.
it's possible.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I
man.
want to you know, really give you props for those interviews you did at Emerging Civil War because it brought
Thank
back
you.
a lot of memories of me doing it at the CWI 5 years ago. And I looked back at them and I was like, wow, I could tell I was doing this off my cell phone with spotty internet. And yours were nice and
Yeah,
crystal clear, and you were on and you were going. And I was very proud of
they
you
were
for
so
doing that.
fun. Thanks, man. Yeah, and I just all of it to be in, man. You had all that good. There's so many positive energies there. It was such great history to talk about, and then in that environment, that's what we always look for. They've been big on community building in this organ. This is history field, so it's a
Yeah.
that's really big on building up voices that haven't been. You know,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
awesome. So I
Well,
appreciate that.
yeah, props to you for that. And everybody watching, please go follow Ty's pages, The Unfiltered Historian. He's going to be doing some more great things out there. And I'm looking forward to all that. Ty, thank you so much for coming on doing this, brother. I knew we were the duo that had to talk about this.
Yeah, John, I appreciate you having me again, man. Doing some content again. This is great.
Yeah, man. Everybody have a great night. Have a great weekend. If I don't talk to you before, take care of yourselves. Keep an eye out for all those amazing photos that are probably going to drop in the next few
Mm-hmm.
months because I'm sure there's going to be a ton of them.
2 million. There's
2 million.
pictures,
Yeah.
so be ready. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
Grab a lot of coffee and just watch the show, everyone. Take care,
That's right.
everybody. See you soon.
Bye.